back to the show. Dane, thank you so much for being on our show. I'm so glad to finally have you on and to be in your absolutely amazing restaurant. So welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm really happy to be here. It's really dope. Yeah.
After a long time, I know we planned this for a while and we kept getting busy.
I know, but I'm glad we're all here.
Yeah, it's like absolutely scorching hot day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so okay, let's start off firstly with this restaurant. It's such an amazing themed restaurant. I love everything about it, from the cocktails to the food and everything. And I have to ask you this one question to start off with. Where did you get the idea and inspiration from?
I mean, so what happened was I was studying in the UK about 10 or 12 years ago, a while ago. I'm old. And and at the time, there was a restaurant that had just come out called Dishum.
Oh, yes.
And what Dishum had done was that sort of recontextualized Indian food. They were focusing on like Bombay street cafes or Iranian cafes in Bombay. But what was cool about them was they took, how we experience Indian food in a restaurant setting, which is typically either a fairly traditional restaurant or something that's like quite stuffy and formal, or something that's like kind of a dingy takeaway.
Oh, yeah.
And they reframed it, and they had an interesting menu that was still true to the food that they were inspired by,
Yeah.
but also changed the context of it. And then that's sort of where the idea of mother-in-law was planted, because I mean, Indian South Africans have got a very strong and proud heritage here. I mean, we've been here for a long time.
Yeah, we have.
Ancestors came here in 1860, so we've got our own type of food. And I always thought, I want to showcase the food that I ate growing up in an environment that is more reflective of a contemporary generation and like a place that I'd want to hang out, really.
Yeah.
And that's how mother-in-law came about. Yeah.
Whoa.
Self, and it's very important, like to speak your mind and be yourself. And that was the core tenet of the restaurant's ethos. And then the other aspect of it was just personally me growing up. My mom's mom, so my father's mother-in-law, was where we convened on a Sunday for lunch. She was the best cook. Her mixed masala is the mixed masala that we literally use here in the restaurant.
wow.
So it was like that is where the name mother-in-law came from, basically. Yeah.
I love that, because I mean, like you said, it takes you back to your grand's house.
Exactly.
And going there as a little kid and having her make your favorite meal and just like everybody sitting together.
Exactly. And like also like your dad making little jokes about how he has to go to his mother-in-law's house on a Sunday. I'm like, you love going there. We went there every single Sunday, like.
Yeah.
So
They always take those jabs at mother-in-law for some
Exactly,
reason.
exactly.
Like, I mean, like looking at the decor, and at the first time I think I walked into your restaurant, I always looked at it was the plates.
Yeah.
And I saw the design, and I was told Dylan this as well. I'm like, it reminds me of my grand's house. Like when we were little kids running in, and they always have something ready for you whenever you walk in the
Exactly,
door. The
yeah.
food's always cooked and ready, and you just get that, that homely, warm feeling. That's
Yeah.
what I love a lot.
Thank you. And I'm glad you picked up on that, because that's really what we're about. I think we want people to feel at home and want them to feel welcome.
Yeah.
Whatever their context or background or whoever they are, that's the whole thing about this place. You must feel welcome when you're here and feel like you're at home. Yeah, so I'm glad you picked up on that,
Yeah, so, I mean, okay, like you said, like going back to your childhood and stuff, you said you just opened up your business and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
in January, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy always deciding, because people have ideas in their minds where they say, okay, I want to try this, I have this business idea, this concept, but not all the time do you find them actually, pulling the trigger and just going with it and starting it. So, like, what pushed you to actually start it and say, okay, I'm doing this right now?
Funny enough, it was like me going through another stressful time in my life, so I decided to open a restaurant. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyway, like I said, I had the idea for a very long time. And like people have spoken about it, and we've had casual conversations with people. But
Yeah.
what happened was, during the pandemic, I had a kid. My daughter was born in May 2020.
Oh, in the midst of
So
it.
quite a hectic time. There's a lot of things I'm grateful for. I got to spend a lot of time with her, because paternity leave is not so nice here in South Africa. So,
Oh, yeah.
I got to spend a
Definitely.
lot of time with her that I wouldn't ordinarily have got to spend. But anyway, I was on a construction project for the family business. We were fitting out, I don't know, like 1,200 apartments. It was crazy.
Wow.
I was working really long hours, 7 days a week. Like I'd go like 3 or 4 days without seeing my kid, maybe, because I'd be at work early and then I'd get home late when she was asleep. And it was a very like tough environment, like construction is a tough environment. And I was also just feeling like I was like thinking to myself, well, I have a daughter, and what kind of like example do I want to set for her in like my working life? Because as much as I'm grateful for all the work experience that I've had and everything that I've done, I've never felt that I've ever done something for money for work that I really wanted to do. You know, I was an attorney before this, and I never regret that. Like, and I have a lot of experience, and that holds me in such good stead right now. And then in my family business, which I absolutely love, and it's like part of who I am, and it's a big reason why I am who I am, and why I got my education and all of that. But I was like, I need to do something for myself. You know, I've got all these ideas in my head and I must just do it. So my friend Muzi, he's had his own business for like 10 years. He's the same age as me. Similar vibe. Also got a kid and that sort of thing. Also, we're very like-minded people. We have our strengths and weaknesses and we balance each other out, and we pick like an old married couple, but we trust each other. And he said to me, look, what's the idea? I said, this is the idea. So he said, okay, sharp, I'll put in half the money, you put in half the money, and let's do this thing together. And that's how it came about, you know. And it wasn't really, I think like it was just about working with someone that trusts you, and you know, he has his strengths and I have my strengths, and but it's nice, and that's how it started. You know, we were just homies, we used to hang out down the road there at Royale. So Royale is still there. Royale is a super fun place, so I definitely recommend your listeners go there if you're over 18. And Muzi and I, that's how we became friends, you know. And then just one thing led to another, and we said, you know what, we're not like, when this money is finished, it's finished, and we're opening the shop. And we did a lot of things ourselves. You know, everything we really did ourselves. We didn't have an interior designer.
Wow.
We didn't have. It was like myself, Muzi, an electrician, a plumber,
and just
a
like
bricklayer.
everything. Oh wow.
We laid out all the lighting points that you see. We laid out the shape of the bar. There's us here with chalk laying out the bar. Okay, it's got to be 1 brick, 2 bricks. This is the angle.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, you know, we did it. This is a DIY shop, you know. And as we got some money, we made some money. We traded. We bought the planters. We bought some outdoor furniture.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. I don't know if that was the question. I think I went off.
No, that's absolutely perfect, because I mean, it's always nice to see like a starting point of a place. And like you said,
I think the advice is don't wait for it to be perfect.
Yes,
don't
just
wait
do it.
For it to be perfect.
Just do it. Exactly. Like, you know, have a friend that you can trust sometimes, and that's what pushed you. And just work together, and you can see what you've built from that. That's pretty amazing. Yeah. So I mean, like, looking at that, and to see where you are now and how you've grown from literally laying brickwork yourself to putting light fittings in on your own, and to where the brand is right now.
So why mother-in-law's brand is so strong, you know. I'm not saying we're busy all the time, we're getting there, but I think like why we've got such a good reception to what we do, like our brand, is that because I think people pick up that we're honest and we're authentic and we're ourselves, and it is what it is, you know. Like, that's it. We're not trying to make everyone happy. That's impossible.
That's definitely true. You can't
and
please
I'm a
everybody.
people pleaser, so it's hard for me.
Ooh. It's a tough place to be when you're a people pleaser. That is true. But I mean, like, I like when you said be authentic and be yourself, because we find like right now social media most times just tends to be like this glamorous life that people want to show that they're living, but at times, like, you know, you can see the realness from the fakeness. And I think, like, personally, I would follow somebody who is real, and you know, I can see it's coming from a place of what they enjoy, and that's what makes me like them even more, or their brand even more. So I like that a lot.
Definitely focus on yourself. That's the thing.
So okay, you are Durban born and bred, and then you moved to Johannesburg. So I'm going to ask you a very tough question right now. Which is better, Durban or Joburg?
So it's hectic because like I'm just going to sound very diplomatic, but it's true, is that I love Durban. I'm very proud of where I'm from, and but like for me in this stage of my life and what I'm into and my community, and like for me, like Joburg is it, you know. I think for me it's the most cosmopolitan city in Africa. Everyone here comes together, it's diverse, it's integrated. I mean, obviously we still have our problems, but I think like it's a very good snapshot of like what a city in Africa kind of is in 2023. And that's why I love it, you know. And I can't say one is better than the other, but I can say for me, for now, I've been here for 10 years. Joburg is where I need to be and where I want to be right now. And then you never know, like the family business is in Durban, all my family is in Durban, my brother's in Durban, my sister-in-law, my nephew, everyone's there. And I'm not saying that I won't be back there eventually, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 5 years, I don't know. But for me now, Yeah.
Joburg.
I like this place.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any natural beauty. It's dusty. I know, I get it, but I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's true. I think you always hear about the feuds, like, which is better, Durban or Joburg, and then you compare the food, and you compare the restaurant. But yeah,
It's different.
I think it's, yeah, for each
It's
person it is
unfair to
different.
compare them.
As well, and like you feel like kind of like both places become home, sort of.
Yeah.
So you caught between both. You can't really choose a particular place, but each have these strengths that make you want to be in each place.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like looking at,
Yeah.
I think every person in their life should try and find what their passions are, and if they have a chance to pursue it, why not?
Yeah.
And like like you said, you still like being an attorney, and you still always use those skills in
Of
your current
course.
life right now.
Yeah,
So
you
you always
will.
find a way to like kind of merge the two worlds. Okay. So I have to ask you about this. So the one thing I love about your restaurant is the cool and amazing drinks that you have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I think the last time I was here, I tried. It was kind of like an old fashioned with
Oh,
like
the
a bit of a
night.
hardi mix.
Yeah, the hardi
So,
night, yeah.
I mean, come on, those concepts are out of the world, absolutely amazing. How do you think of those ideas?
I mean, it's not just me. We have a team. So obviously, when you came, the first batch of cocktails was us. Muzi and I, and we got some help from a lady named Nkuli. Shout out Nkuli. She's at Bacardi. She helped us a lot because we have the ideas and like the creative direction. But I mean, we're not mixologists.
Oh yeah.
So that's how it happens. We'll think of something will inspire us. When it first opened, it was like memories of Durban or being an Indian South African or whatever it was. And now it's just like more like broader, like that's called Purple Haze. It's named after a Jimi Hendrix song and something else. And it was just, we had a 50 years of hip hop party, and
Yeah.
we needed cocktails. We came up with like the flavors and then handed it over to the bar team and said, hey guys, make it, make it.
Wow.
And see. And it's iterative. You go through different whatever's iterations until you get it right. But yeah, that's how it comes up.
It's really
That's the
cool.
amazing thing about having a restaurant. You have an idea one day, you're chilling at home, you're sleeping, and then, hey, okay, I got your questions.
Yeah. So okay, and like you've said also, your parents didn't have the opportunities that you had. Like you said, you lived in London.
Yeah.
And I mean, you had the opportunity to travel and to experience different worlds and cuisines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, like in terms of like the travel aspect, like let's take it on a lighter note now.
Yeah.
So like after all that intense stuff,
That's all good.
so like which is your favorite place that you have traveled to?
My favorite city in the world, my favorite place to travel to is New York.
Okay.
So also lived there for a little bit. We lived there for like 6 months before we moved to
Wow.
London, and worked in restaurants there. And I love New York because of its energy. I like it because of how cosmopolitan it is, how everyone there is from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they're New Yorkers, but they're also very proud of their heritage and their culture. The food scene there is incredible, and also it's not just kind of one type of place. Whether you want to hit a food cart or go to a fine dining Michelin star
Yeah.
restaurant, there's all the options. And I also just like the way the people are. Like, I know they're not like necessarily the most friendly, but I find them very honest and direct and friendly. When like if you're sitting at a bar by yourself or with other people, they'll talk to you, they'll hear your accent, they'll find you interesting. I find like it's not super cliquey, and I like that you can just walk around at any time of night and something will be happening.
Yeah.
Like it's just
The city that never sleeps.
exactly, and that's not just like a stereotype. It's true.
Yeah.
If I could live anywhere besides, I think that's where I would live. Yeah,
New
I love
York.
it. Yeah, that's my favorite place to travel.
Yeah.
Not super exciting, but it's true. I love that it's grimy. It's everything that I love. It's like everything that I love in like my personal life. Like New York is like the epicenter of it, So that's why that's really.
Yeah, that's cool. That is really cool. Okay, so the next one, food.
Yeah.
What is like your ultimate favorite food? Any part of the world, any type of cuisine that you enjoy?
You know what I mean? Besides Indian food.
Besides
I'm
Indian
joking.
food, yeah.
That's a hard one. It's a hard one to. I like Mediterranean food.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like Greek food and
Okay.
I like Portuguese food, especially South African Portuguese food. Like I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of like these OG Portuguese places here. I also like. It's such a yes. You ask me hard questions here. Because I honestly like all types of food. Like I love myself
Yeah.
a good like bangers and mash or like a fish pie, but also love.
You're taking it all the way back to
or like
London.
I love. It's hard. Honestly, I'm down for anything. I can't say it's hard. But yeah, I think like if you said say what I had to like default to on Uber Eats,
Yeah,
it'd
yeah,
either
yeah.
be like a Greek spot, a Portuguese spot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's your go-to.
Yeah, those are my go-tos.
Yeah. I mean, like, I always like trying different foods myself.
Yeah.
And traveling, because I mean, I feel like travel gives you an insight into the world of people and what they believe in, and how they live their lives. So like we were in London, we were trying to like try the different cuisines and stuff, and then there were some things that we took to very well, some things like were a bit like okay, maybe not for our palate, but I think it's always nice to try and experiment and try and figure it out. But I know it sounds so probably cliched or something, but I like Indian food.
Yeah. Indian food
I was
is
trying to
dependable.
find Indian food in London and trying to find Indian food like that compares to Durban and to South Africa and stuff.
Theirs
It
is a lot
tough
more like
sometimes.
Indian traditional though, which
Yeah.
is cool. They got
Yeah, it
some
is.
really amazing places in
That's
London.
true.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like Indian food default. I mean, like, I won't lie, like when we're traveling and it's very like, that's where we can't escape like how our parents are as well. Like, when you're traveling and like, if you're tired of like, you're always gonna try and find that like Indian
some
spot.
curry spot.
On like, day 10 of the holiday, like let's try and find a curry now.
Or let's try and find some masala so we can make some curry at home.
Yeah, or make something at home. That's exactly.
The hardest thing ever.
I even remember we were in Ireland, like it was like
Yeah.
2013 or 2014, and we'd been doing, and my wife and I had been doing a road trip. It was like 10 days, and
Oh, wow.
we got back to Dublin,
Yeah.
and we're like, hey, we saw a Indian place, and we're like, you know what, let's go have curry.
You missed it a bit.
Yeah.
But I think with Ireland, I'm not sure if you tried their traditional stew.
Irish stew, I'm sure I did have
Yeah.
an Irish stew. I'm sure I did, yeah.
That was like one of my
Yeah,
favorites that I've tried so far. I
lamb
think.
stew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure
Okay.
I
So I mean, before we wrap up everything, and like you were almost at that point, like any final kind of inspiration that you may have had, be it childhood, who has inspired you and who has motivated you, like a role model that has shaped you to the person that you are right now.
It's the people around me. Eh? Like, of course, I look up to like celebrities and like whatever business people, but really, it's like it's my dad, it's my mother, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my friends. I've got a lot of friends that do really amazing things and have been hustling for a long time and in fields that are difficult. Whether it be
Yeah.
art or music or whatever it is, and like to be with them and see their success now. It's really amazing. So I try and look for inspiration around me, from the people around me. I think that's where I find it. Yeah. My brother is also mad. He's younger than me. He's killing it. He's started his own agency. He's a big
Oh.
inspiration to me. So like, yeah,
That's
why I
nice.
try and look around me basically.
I think it's really cool. Yeah. Okay. So, for those watching out here, we've got some young viewers, also some older viewers. Some students. What advice would you give to them?
I'd say be yourself. It's not always easy. It was a journey for me, but just like stay true to who you are. And that sounds also like a cliche, but it's true. I think like people really value and appreciate authenticity. And I think that's it. And also look after yourself. Like don't try and be a hero. Very few of us have jobs that are like live or die situations.
Yeah.
So if you need to take that day off, and I know maybe this is not the nicest thing to say because we all have different bosses, but if you need to lie to your boss and say, hey, I'm not feeling well, I have a tummy bug, and because it's a mental health thing, mental health is health. And
That's
I think
true.
like this whole thing, especially like in our communities, Indian communities, that we don't really talk about it as much and we don't like grapple
Yeah.
with it as much. So you just gotta just deal with it, think about it,
Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
It was so nice to finally get to speak to you and to hear inspiration behind this great creation that you have right now. And for those of you, when you are in Johannesburg again, be sure to visit Mother-in-law. They have amazing cocktails, amazing food, and a very secret recipe which Jade refuses to share with me.
Samosa sauce, sorry, never. We're gonna bottle it soon though.
Oh my God, okay, I'll buy that.
Maybe we'll sponsor
I'll
the
definitely buy
podcast. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you again for being
Thanks
on.
so much.